Hello, this is Graham from letslearnthis.com. Now in this tutorial we're going to look at taking input, that is input from a user, for example some numbers or their name, and using that within our program. Now there's two functions we can use for this. One's called input and one's called raw input. And we're going to concentrate on raw input. And that you type that like this, raw input, and then you give the user a prompt. So for example, enter your name. Okay. Now once the user enters a name, we're going to need somewhere to put it, so we're going to have a variable. So we're going to say result, that's the variable, is equal to whatever the user enters once it sees this this prompt. Okay, and then let's print the result. Now raw input takes whatever it's given and converts it into a string, which is different to the way the other function input works. Input takes whatever it's given and tries to convert it into a type that it recognizes. So for example, if you entered a whole number, say 4, it would convert that number into an integer. If you entered 4.0, it would convert it into a float. But really, you could take any input here and then convert it afterwards, which is possibly, arguably, more common, because it's always worth checking that when you're doing calculations or display that you've always got things in the right type. Okay, so let's run this anyway, and we can see it in action. So we'll save it. Call it. Actually, let's put it in the right place. Apply-input, and I'll just replace that one. Okay, so please enter your name. So I'm going to put in there Graham. And it's going to say Graham. Now we might want to tidy that up and say print hello, and then our variable, and then nice to meet you. Okay, so let's run that. Again, enter your name. Hello Graham, nice to meet you. So you see, that's quite neat, isn't it? You can take whatever the user's put in here and just work with it straight away. So can you see what happened here? We presented the user with this prompt, which appeared here. They input, in this case, their name, and then we printed out a predefined string almost that we already had here, but we put their name in the middle of it. Okay, so let's imagine we wanted to do something with numbers. Let's comment these two lines out first. Let's say result 2 equals raw input. Please enter a number and I'll multiply it by 2. Okay, so same thing. It works in exactly the same way here. Nothing changes just because we're asking for a number yet. It's going to take that number and convert it into a string. So we might want to say print the result is, and then we might want to print out the result, but we need to multiply it by 2. And the problem we've got now is that we've asked the user to enter the number, but the number is going to be converted into a string because that's the way raw input works. It converts everything into a string. So how are we going to do the calculation? Well, if you remember before, we converted numbers into strings using the str function. We can do exactly the same here using the int function. So we could say calc, we'll say calc is the name of the variable, calc equals result 2 times 2. But we want to make this result an integer, as we said, so we're going to say int, and then we're going to put the result 2 in brackets. So what's going to happen here is that it's going to convert the result 2 into an integer, and then times it by 2 and pop the result into this calc variable. So now we can print out calc here. So let's see what happens if we run this. So we're getting our prompt first, just like we asked. Here's our prompt, and it's printed out here. I'm going to put in a number, say 4. Yeah, of course, because I was just talking about converting strings into integers to do the to work out the result. But here we need to convert this integer, which we're trying to join with a string, into a string. So we use the str function. So let's run that again. Please enter a number and multiply it by 2. So number 4. The result is 8. So do you see there, we're converting things which might seem a little bit tricky to understand at first, but it means that when you're in a complex program and you're working with different numbers, you can always be sure that you're going to get the right results because you converted them into the right types. And it also means that you're going to have a better eye for detail to understand what's coming in and what you want to put out. So we're going to leave it there for now, because really we're just going to be wanting to use it in its most basic form at the moment and then build on it as time goes on. Alright, well, thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next tutorial. Bye!